the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the threat of nuclear war has been looming in the minds of the populace unlike anything since the Cold War. In fact, as the international community imposes a variety of restrictions and sanctions on Russia, it's impossible not to imagine a worst-case nuclear scenario, especially given that Russia possesses the world's biggest stockpile of nuclear weapons. Even more concerning, Russian President Vladimir Putin recently placed Russia's deterrent forces, including nuclear weapons, on high alert. Experts say this level of threat is unprecedented in the post-Cold War era. Considering how advanced computers, drones, and lasers have become since the Cold War, one would think that modern technology could prevent a nuclear attack. As a matter of fact, in 1983, President Ronald Reagan announced the initiation of a program dubbed Star Wars to safeguard America from ballistic strategic nuclear weapons launched from space. It has now been 39 years since that announcement. So, where do we stand now? In other words, if a country launched an intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, which is any missile with a minimum range of 5,500 kilometers, could the United States or another country intercept or block it? Today, we will discuss whether or not nuclear missiles can be stopped once they have been fired. Russia could soon be able to conduct nuclear strikes all over the world without any chance of being intercepted. These words didn't come from just anyone. They came from the president of one of the biggest nuclear power countries in the world, Vladimir Putin himself. It has become clear that Russia only has two strategic assets of any consequence: fossil fuels and nuclear weapons. Currently, the most effective weapon that countries like the United States and Russia have to nuke each other is a ballistic missile. Hidden underground and in stealthy submarines all over the world, ballistic missiles can cross huge distances at blistering speeds. And because of the sheer number of the American and Russian arsenals, it would be impossible to meaningfully defend against them. For decades, engineers have struggled to find a way to protect against nuclear attacks. It is still a puzzlement, and despite monumental advances in physics, computing, and artificial intelligence in the last 4 decades, that missile interception has not yet been solved. Technically, the U.S. has an ICBM missile defense system, a system known as the Ground-Based Mid-Course Defense System, or GMD, presently defends the continental U.S. with 44 interceptors stationed in Alaska and California. There's bad news, though. It's probably not working as expected. According to a study sponsored by the American Physical Society, GMD cannot be relied upon even to counter a limited nuclear attack. The main reason is that it is very difficult to intercept something so small, about a meter long, moving so fast, 15,000 miles per hour, in such a short space of time. Not to mention that part of these warheads' trajectory takes place in space. With that said, let's explore the possibilities of hitting a fired missile. A missile could be intercepted at just a few points on its journey: when it first launches, or once it's out in space, and finally, as the missile re-enters the atmosphere, zooming toward its target. Each of these approaches has limitations that don't leave much time for a rocket to intercept and destroy a nuclear missile. Historical facts show that the United States' rivals, such as Russia and China, have large land masses. They would probably launch their missiles far inland, like sea-based interceptors. This would make it impossible to track a missile during its launch phase. A proposal was made early on to put giant Boeing 747s with bomb-killing lasers in the skies above Russia and China. But you can understand the operational difficulty with that. It makes no sense to have many massive planes merely hovering forever for decades, waiting for something to happen. Another potential possibility is to intercept the missile on its longest flight path, in space. Because most of the United States' adversaries are west of the Pacific, their missiles will very certainly be programmed to travel a course above the poles, implying that a single ground-based interceptor could be stationed in Alaska and effectively protect the entire country. However, this strategy doesn't come without flaws. The incoming missile is traveling at a speed of 15,000 to 17,000 miles per hour. If you miss by an inch, this inch will be translated into a mile or more. Another concern is that there is no air in space. Therefore, there is no resistance. This implies that a decoy, such as a balloon fashioned like a nuclear warhead, may move in the same direction as the genuine warhead, making it impossible for a missile to differentiate the real missile from the decoy. Because balloons are so light, a clever warhead could easily deploy 20 or 30 fake balloons to obstruct the warhead's route. Finally, when the missile re-enters the atmosphere before hitting the target, a last-ditch effort could be made to intercept it. However, there are additional issues with this strategy. For example, if the interceptor does not hit the precise right spot on the missile, the rocket may not reach its intended target. It will fall someplace else, such as Canada, which Canada will not like. So the target must be extremely precise in order to reach the payload at the missile's tip. The benefit of this strategy, assuming it works well, is that air resistance prevents decoys from diverting the system. But remember, on the other hand, you don't have much time to defend because it's coming at you fast, so it's not a viable approach. Another may argue that using something like an electromagnetic pulse to jam the electronics in nuclear bombs is a good idea. Unfortunately, this is unlikely to succeed because these weapons are built to withstand the effects of EMPs from other nuclear bombs nearby. As a result, in recent decades, the military has concentrated on intercepting an ICBM mid-course, also known as ground-based mid-course missile defense. During the Clinton administration, the military produced a prototype that achieved early success. However, under Bush, the military advanced the weapon from an early prototype to operational capability. According to the military, it has missed the target in 9 of the last 17 tests. Between 2010 and 2017, it failed 3 out of 4 tests. However, the U.S. military stated in late May that it had completed a successful test of the mid-course missile defense system. However, the military study states that these tests are highly scripted to achieve success. If these tests were planned to fool the U.S. defenses, as a real enemy would do, the failure rate would be even worse. So as of yet, no one has developed a perfect, robust, reliable ICBM stopping technology. We're all hoping for a high-tech answer that will protect us from having to deal with a global issue like Russia, where simply all we need to do is get down at the negotiation table and come up with new treaties and a new peace. Thanks for watching.